Hi, this is Fish on Fridays. We're at the Fish in Newport, in front of the Hebert building. This is not a culinary show. We're here because we want to talk about things that are important to people in Newport and in the Northeast Kingdom. And we have some people here today, some of whom want to talk about housing, and we have some other issues. Beautiful day in Newport. We have Jack here with a sign that says mammon and usury. These are two kind of old-fashioned words. I'm wondering if Jack would like to say a couple words about these old-fashioned words.
Mammon isn't old. They're both old-fashioned words. Mammon usually means wealth, but it's usually taken as extreme wealth that's over the top. And usury is basically charging interest on our money. And both these things, especially the usury, has created our debt. So everyone is in debt constantly. And it's a Ponzi system that the financial world works on. We're charging people more than what they borrow. And people can never get the other money that's borrowed because it's never put in circulation. So if you buy a house for $100,000 and after 30 years you're paying $280,000, that $180,000 was never loaned into the system. So you wind up having to compete with your neighbor and your other people in the country that also have loans. And anyways, it's a Ponzi system. It's due to fail, and it is failing. And we are at the end of this era of financial greed.
Is there anything you'd like to say today, Terry?
Well, yes, there is.
It's noisy out here too, so we might wait a minute.
I'm becoming very alarmed the last few weeks or so, more so than before, because of the mentioning of war all over the television and radio and everything we look at. I'm afraid that we're going to get duped into going into war with Syria. And to me, it doesn't make much sense.
We just got out of one war, and that was a $1 trillion plus war, and we have the veterans coming home that are not being taken care of, and we have folks at home that are not being taken care of, and we can't afford that, and yet we want to spend another $1 trillion. I don't know. You'd have to be nuts. Maybe they are.
I think maybe they are.
They're nuts or just plain
Well, it's going to be up to
greedy.
us, I guess.
Has to be up to us.
It's got to be up
That's
to
right.
us. Each and every one of us.
Right. You know, when Congress is not standing up for the people, when a government is not standing up for the people, that just leaves us. We need to stand up for ourselves. And that's something that doesn't make any difference if you're left or right or in the middle. It is about the American people. It is about our Constitution and the rights which we've been guaranteed. And it's going to be up to us.
Well, I think we should show all our representatives the door.
The door, yeah.
Any incumbents.
I think they're going home for vacation soon.
Yes, they
yeah,
are,
that's their idea of
right.
Yeah,
They're not obeying our law.
Summer vacation.
We're not a democracy. We were a representative republic, and they're not doing their job.
Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
And then this is Jackie. Hi, Jackie.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Fine.
Warm out here. That's nice, huh? Or maybe not.
I like it.
You like it?
No
Great.
problem.
Great. And Jackie has the Stop Greed sign, which is really at the basis of a lot of this. But I think one of the problems we want to focus on today, because it's a real problem in Newport, is the issue of housing. And Jackie, I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about your situation and issues you have with housing.
A lot of it is poor attitudes with the landlords, not wanting them to take care of the properties, a lot of greed, a lot of money that they want from you. They don't tend to matter the way they're supposed to. They can give you head games. You know, just some trouble with guidelines to be able to move into the housing. So just the various issues.
Now you're currently living in assisted living.
Yeah.
And can you say a little bit about, well, I guess I know that you don't have a lot of privacy there. You have shared room. Doesn't give you any, you don't really have your own things, and you are not an elderly person, although you are disabled. And that's not really a suitable place for someone like you.
Not really.
And you would like to live on your own, right?
Live on my own with assistance.
And you have lived on your own, and you have managed your own apartment. You do manage your own life and your own funds, etc. What kind of situations have you encountered in trying to find living quarters that give you a little more privacy and independence?
Affordable housing and the guidelines.
And the guidelines. We do have affordable housing in Newport. We have two kinds, I guess. We have the rural edge run housing, which used to be Gilman housing, and we also have landlords who rent to low-income people. They may receive some subsidy. I don't know if they do or not, but so how have you applied to rural edge for housing?
Yes, and I got the second time around I got denied for approved partly. Then the second time around I got denied.
I understand there is a huge waiting list, so I guess they can afford to be picky. So what was their reason for denying you?
One thing, I owed debt to one of the housing authorities in Burlington, and also because of my income, I don't have enough money to pay the rent where their property is.
I was under the impression that rent in a subsidized housing like rural edge was a portion of your income, and that the U.S. government was footing the bill for the rest of that. So how could they possibly say you didn't have enough money? It doesn't make much sense.
She's told me not all their properties are subsidized.
Yeah, so it seems like you could pay, what, $200 a month or $300 a month?
Yeah.
Portion of your income, which is your disability, and that the U.S. government would be picking up the tab for the rest. So how can they say you don't have enough money? I guess if you had $0, you probably wouldn't have to pay anything.
I think it has to do with discrimination.
So they're just looking for, you think they're just looking for an excuse to not rent or be picky about who they rent to?
I can't tell for sure because they didn't say because of my income as being disability. Just I don't have enough income to live off of, period.
Well, I think that's true. People on disability don't have enough money to live on. That's really not the fault of people on disability. It's the fault of the fact that U.S. American people are not chipping in quite enough. But
what it is that partly to begin with, they checked how much money I have to live on, and they were okay with it.
Yeah.
And put me on the waiting list.
Right.
Then when I was about ready to go, they told me another story.
They changed their mind. So basically, now you have your disabilities. You have. Can you say in general a little bit about your disabilities?
My disability, it was based on emotional things, emotional issues. I got it going through my divorce, freeing from a bad living situation.
But now at age, you're older now, and you also have physical disabilities also.
Yeah, I have some disabilities.
Which makes it hard for you to walk, and you tire easily. Yeah. So, I think, in a wonderful world, we could find many jobs you could do. I know you're excellent on the phone. You're intelligent and a real go-getter when it comes to organizing things. There are many jobs that we could find for you to do, Jackie, but in a competitive world where there's a 27-year-old person vying for the same job who has a college education, I think you probably are going to be in the not in the running there. So I think it would be a little unfair to expect you to be able to go out and find a job in this economic climate, considering your disabilities. So, well, I wish you the best. And are you planning on doing anything about the fact that you were declined for housing for Rural Edge?
I tried to, but knowing that I owe money, which is the facts, I'm never going to get past that until I start paying it off.
So what would that? So you do plan to try to work on that then?
As soon as I have more money in my pocket, yeah.
And how would that happen?
Moving on to where I am.
So basically, so your other option then is you're going to be sort of at the mercy of landlords who rent to low-income people, and you've had experience with that in the past. What's that like?
Well, in the past, I wish I could have finally tried to have my own home, but I can't do that. I can't get a loan because one thing, I live off the wrong kind of income.
You have disability
you can't
income.
even get a down payment from a program because you make the wrong kind of money.
Yeah, it's not money from a waitressing job. It's money from disability, because it would be very difficult for you to be employed.
Trying to get a job on disability, you're not making any headway.
Right, I can understand that.
Well, I hate to keep you from doing any more, but I
Okay, I understand you're tired and you can go have a seat. Jackie, thanks so much for talking with us. Okay, so this gentleman just passed by here and saw our signs, and he might have a couple words to say about what do you think about minimum wage?
I think it's too low.
Wait a minute.
I think it's way too low.
It's way too low.
Yeah, I think it ought to be about like $50 an hour.
$50 an hour.
Well, yeah, I mean, if I'm going to raise a family, you know, somebody's
true.
going to give me that, yeah.
That's true. But a minute ago you just said something about you were concerned that if wages go up, then your hamburger will cost more.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
But,
The hamburger, the bananas at the store are going to go up, electricity is going to go up, gasoline is going to go up. Yeah, all these things are going to go up. Somebody needs to absorb that lower wage.
well, here's a thought. Big companies like Walmart, the Walmart family personally has more wealth than some 40% of Americans.
Yeah, Walmart comes from Arkansas. Okay. Now, have you looked into Walmart, see what kind of benefits they get?
Not good.
You ought to know, it's just the opposite. I mean, they pay good benefits. I mean, they pay all the insurance for each employee. Health insurance is provided. Yeah, go research.
Well, I would have to look into that, but that's not what I hear from people that work at Walmart.
See, that's the problem. You talk to the wrong people. Go talking to the people at Walmart. Okay?
Yeah, well, I'm sure there are some people, but most people are not hired full-time, and if you're not working full-time, you don't get benefits.
Go and educate yourself at Walmart.
Okay, well,
I really think you should.
we should probably do that.
I like
That is
Walmart,
a good
you know why?
suggestion.
Because they service a population. They service the people who don't have much money.
Right, absolutely.
Now, what I don't like, of course, everything comes from China.
Right.
Okay?
Well, there is an issue.
It's not only Walmart. You go into any store over here, pick it up. Let's see where it's come from.
Right.
Very few things come from the U.S.
Yeah. Now, that would go a long ways to solving the problem of low wages, as well as the fact that nobody has any money to buy anything, if we had good jobs,
when
right?
you raise the wage, that's why China is so, because it costs less to make it in China.
Right.
Transport it over here. If you raise the wage much higher, I mean, we're not going to get anything from China at all.
Are you retired?
Yeah.
Were you employed in manufacturing or anything like that before you retired? And I see you're a veteran.
Yeah.
Where did you serve?
Fort Bragg.
Yeah, and did you go overseas?
No, 82nd Airborne.
What was that?
82nd Airborne.
82nd Airborne. Oh,
Yeah.
pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta go eat.
Okay. Thanks
Sorry
for.
to see you guys. You guys are getting slavery low wage. That's why I was asking how much you get.
Well,
Pretty good.
they're retired and I'm a nurse.
Volunteer.
So how much you make as a nurse? I mean,
I make a good wage, and I would love to see everyone be in that position because I'm one of the fortunate ones, but there just are not that many people that make a good wage. And you know, I don't know how people making less than I do can actually even
well, I'm on Social
make it.
Security, so you know how much I make.
Yeah, that's tough, right? Right. Yeah.
Okay, good luck.
Okay, it's nice talking with you. We're moving into the shade here. I'm talking with that other gentleman. So, you know, he has received different information than I have heard about Walmart, and I guess that is an issue, where you get your information from. I have not ever worked at
There's also an
Walmart.
issue with the full-time and part-time.
Right, yes,
I don't believe the insurance will cover you
right.
for part-time.
Yeah.
And most people that are working there are young mothers and fathers and just trying to make ends meet. Maybe it used to be like a second job for people, but because of the economy right now, I believe it's more of a job to earn money so you can eat, pay your rent, pay your electricity.
So I guess it would be pretty much for folks that are watching this, if they've had any experience with Walmart or with other
Yes.
low-wage retail jobs, to just look at their own situation. I guess we need to have those people come forward and say either, oh yes, I'm rolling in the dough working at Walmart and I
Oh, I
got
hope
great
so.
benefits, or you know, I can't get full-time hours and they schedule me only a week ahead, so I never know when I'm working. And so this lady has some issues with housing. So would you like to talk about that for a second?
Yeah, they have the NECA and the NECA youth services. And we're married, have children, he works, we barely get what we need to get by. And every time we've gone in the last 7 years, we've gone in probably 4 or 5 times to ask for help with housing, we get denied. After being denied, I know 3 or 4 people that are under 21. Sit down, please. Sit down or you're not getting it. Josh. That have no children and were put in house, not only put in housing, but their rent was paid for 6 months. Because
Just passing by.
Oh, yeah.
So do you have any thoughts on housing in Newport? Do you find it's possible to get housing? Is it affordable?
No, not really. Hey, they're doing the best they can.
Are you a veteran?
Yeah, I went through Vietnam.
You did.
I'm 64, and oh wow.
So what do you think about the scandal with the VA? Are you upset about that?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, everybody knew it was a freaking bureaucratic bullshit, and what, they just throw money after it, and what, expect it to get better? Oh yeah, it got more corrupt. You know, you wonder where incompetency stops and corruption begins. But hey, they're bedfellows, and they're all, I don't give a.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
if Hillary's in Barack or
Well,
whatever.
Well, have you had any experience personally with the VA? Have you been treated
yeah,
there?
hey,
Not good?
take a number and we'll call you.
Take a
in
number
the
and we'll
morning.
call you. So, do you have any solutions? What do you think could fix it?
Yeah. Americans, take America back. Vote your conscience. This is one.
Or just vote, period. Thank
Yeah.
you. I can tell you're a little frustrated over the whole
Yeah,
thing.
because, well, we're.
So we're back at the 99, and I'm going to be talking with this gentleman. Would you care to introduce yourself?
My name is Barry Braddock.
And hi, Barry. What's your experience with housing in Newport?
Well, I moved up here from Florida approximately a year and a half ago to live with my brother. That did not work out. So I struck out and tried to find a place because the building I was living in with my brother was up for sale. She eventually sold the building and of course left me with no place to go. she did give me enough time to find a place, but in 6 months' time, because I own a pet dog, I have been kept out of so many places because of the dog. The dog has never gone to the bathroom in any house. Is a perfectly well-mannered yellow retriever, just like old Yeller.
And we know our dogs are our best friends sometimes, so
right.
you're not going to give up your best friend.
Right.
I'm just wondering the fact that they cleaned out all the rental space on Main Street, which now sits there empty, and those people had to be relocated. I'm wondering if that put a crimp on the number of apartments that are available for
I'm sure that must have had something
for
to do
people.
with it.
I mean, I'm sure were places to rent where they allowed dogs, but those are probably all taken up. I know a lot of the people that lived on Main Street did have dogs. Most of
Right.
them small dogs, but still. So, so you looked for 6 months to find some
For
place?
6 months.
Yeah.
And I've struck out. I recently
tough.
have come by a place, a 1-bedroom, but I still had to come up with $1,200 to get into the place. And for a person who lives on Social Security retirement income only, it has been extremely difficult. I have to go to family.
Now, you were employed as a carpenter, right, in your working years?
All my life.
And you're over retirement age. Yeah, I guess we can see you have some arthritis there.
Yeah.
Looks pretty severe.
So
Sorry, I
had
hope
to
it doesn't
retire
cause you a
at
lot of
age
pain.
62, and I'm approaching almost 68 in October. And first time in my life I've ever been homeless.
That's not exactly how we would like to see people spending their so-called golden years.
Exactly.
And I understand you, so you've had a family, you've raised a child, and
I had 3 girls, one born in 72, one born in 77, and then the last one was Karen, who's helping me out, in 92. So that's quite a difference from 72 to 92.
yes, yeah, that's okay. I have a 15-year difference between a couple of my kids too, so. Anyway, so you finally found a place and you're hoping to get in there soon?
Yes,
Yeah. Now you're also a veteran, is that the case?
I am.
Yeah.
From the Vietnam era.
Yeah.
And don't like talking about that much, but had a time period where I went to the VA, and what's going on today, what was going on 40 years ago, is never changed.
Yeah,
the same problems.
we talked with somebody else about that today, another veteran from the Vietnam era that basically said you go take your number and they'll call you sometime.
Right.
Maybe.
Good luck with that.
Good luck with that. I think it was a major scandal. They were doing obviously illegal things to try to hide the fact they couldn't take care of their vets. How do you feel about getting into another war and having more veterans coming back?
I believe that is not the answer. Is never the answer. Unless our thing is attacked, our country is attacked, would be the only reason why I would support action. But not to go to a foreign land and fight somebody else's battles. That's not what we're about. I didn't never believe that's what we were about. And certainly when I was 18 years old and was drafted into the Marine Corps, that's what my experience would be. I just never. I was young. I was naive, and from a small New England town.
I think that until you've experienced war, you don't really understand how awful it can be and how really it is the last resort for the most serious of circumstances, and not to be taken lightly over maybe in this case just getting involved in somebody else's business, and we should probably let them sort it out themselves.
Right.
We cannot.
Like what's happening in Iraq right now? They're about to embark on a civil war. Well, we went through a civil war. And if some other country wants to do that, that's up to them, not us.
Yeah, I think even for our many, many years of involvement, we did not really solve any of the social issues that are there, and they're going to just be worked out. And I don't think there's anything we can do to fix them. They're very big issues, and some of the issues were compounded by national boundaries having been redrawn by Western nations in the Middle East, which didn't really fit people's ethnic or or tribal affiliations, and now all those things are just coming back to haunt us. So I don't know, I personally would just say stay out of it, because we have so many vets coming back now that maybe in an earlier war might have been dead, but now they're coming back with their heads half blown off and their legs gone up to the knee, and we can't take care of the ones we've got. I don't know how we're going to take care of this more people coming back so seriously wounded. Well, I hope you get happy in your new situation there and you get your apartment fixed up, and appreciate your spending some time to talk with us today. Thank you. So, hi, we have this gentleman here to talk to us today back at the gallery, and what's your name?
My name is Barry.
Hi, Barry. Hi. And what's your situation with regard to housing? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I've been looking for the past 6 months because I have a dog. I've been locked out of the rental market, so I just recently have come by a one-bedroom place that is within my means. That I'm retired now. I'm a retired carpenter. You can tell by my hands are all
let's see.
banged up.
Yeah, that's obvious. You're not going to be working with too many tools there right now, but you're also way over retirement age, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so.
I'm 68 in October.
Yeah, so is this how you plan to spend your golden years?
And for the first time in my life, I'm homeless. I just never ever expected to be in that position, but I have learned so much in being homeless for the past month or so, that and I've met some fantastic people, you being one of them. It's just been a informative experience.
You know, I think it's true. Until you've walked in those shoes, you really don't understand the situation. So what do you, I've always wondered whether the fact that they had emptied out all the apartments on Main Street, which those people all had to be relocated. Many of them had pets too, I know, and probably filled up all the available rentals in Newport, and then leaving very little left, especially for someone that does have a pet. And of course, dogs are best friend. Can you tell us a little bit about your friend?
Oh yeah, she's been a wonderful dog for the past 9 years, October 1. So I love her dearly. It's one of the best dogs I've ever owned, and I've had a few of them over the years.
Yeah, I know, and I know she's very well mannered. I've met her. So, so you are in an apartment now,
Yes.
or will be soon. That's great. And I understand also that you're a veteran.
I am. It's not something I like to talk about, but it was during the Vietnam era, and it was a horrific experience. Nobody at the tender age of 18 years old should ever have to experience death, destruction, mayhem. The people in Vietnam didn't want anything to do with war. They just wanted to grow their rice and live peacefully. And we came in as an outside force, and to this day don't understand why we're there.
And how do you feel about the scandal with the VA?
VA, I tried the VA way back when I first got out of the service. They diagnosed me with PTSD, and I watched people that had 100% disability be completely being taken away from them, and they would have to fight for 6 to 8 months to get it all back. Yeah, they did get it back, but what was the government doing with all that money for the 6 to 8 month period? It seems so unfair. I just wanted to wash my hands of the VA. Never went back after that. And I hear of all the scandal going on today, and nothing has changed.
How do you feel about us getting involved in another war again, just after the $1 trillion war we just got out of?
It's not right. Unless we are being attacked and have to defend our homeland, going to another country like Afghanistan, Iraq, Vietnam, no matter where it is, it's just not right. I mean, we send the best and the brightest of our young people into a catastrophic situation. It's just not right.
Yeah, many of these young people are coming back with very serious injuries, such as missing half of their head or legs blown off below the knee. And because of advances in medicine, we're able to keep people alive, but their lives are, not to mention the huge amount of medical care they have to undergo, and then also their lives are severely impaired. And I cannot imagine we would be wanting to create even more disabled veterans when we have so many already that are coming back.
If you're not scarred physically, you're scarred mentally.
Yes. And only if you've served in a war do you really understand that. So I think that some of our best spokespeople for peace are those who have served in a war. Well, I'm really happy that you've gotten into some housing, and I thank you for speaking with us. I really appreciate that.
Alrighty.
We're back at the we're back at the gallery, yes, and this is Dan. Hi, Dan.
Hi. What's up,
Yeah,
Dan?
we are talking about housing today. Do you have any thoughts on housing?
Nope, not a one.
Not a one. Where did you used to live,
I used to live on 2nd Street.
and what happened to
living there
all
for
the
about 5
housing?
years.
What happened to all the housing there?
They shut it all down. It was like, I'm gonna guess about 40 or 50 apartments that they were all shuttered at this point. There's like boards up on the windows and doors, and I don't know, I was the last to be evicted out of there. It took them over 2 years to evict me.
Did you have a lease?
Yeah, I actually had a rental agreement, and they violated my rental agreement to kick me out.
Did that say how long you were supposed to be allowed to stay before it was renewed? Or
They didn't have any expiration listed in my rental agreement.
had you been up to date on your rent?
Yes, I was.
So you did take them to court, I understand.
Yeah, in the court they refused to give me a jury trial, and then the judge invented an expiration in my lease. He even used the word expiration where the word expiration does not exist in my lease, and he just ignored the fact that the lease does not have any mention of any expiration or renewal or anything like that. And I don't know, so he invented terms in my lease, and then he used that as pretext to force this eviction on me. Brought it to the Supreme Court. They did exactly the same thing. And they, again, used the word expiration as though the word expires exists somewhere in my lease, but it does not.
So most people would not have the understanding or wherewithal to take anything to court. So I imagine most people just packed up their stuff and left, right?
I think that most of the people over there, they were given some sweeter deal by Doug Spates, and that's why they all agreed to pack up and leave.
Do you happen to know where any other people went? Are they still in Newport?
Well,
or
I know some of the people were offered other places around Newport, and I ran into some people who were my neighbors just the other day that they're like on the other side of the lake now.
Mm-hmm. Now, you don't drive, and a lot of people in Newport don't drive, and you also have a friend, we were talking about Barry's good friend Bella, and you have a friend, Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea is a pretty large dog, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sweet Pea is
He's
a
no
sweetie.
mode of transportation.
He's a sweetie pie. But yeah, you can't
He wants
use him
to hold
as
you
a
back if he doesn't want to go.
can't use him as a mode of transportation, but he is a good friend. But it's
He is
really
the size
hard
of a
to
horse.
it's hard to find.
Why don't you get Sweet Pea on camera?
Okay, let's go see.
Right over there.
Sweet Pea is reclining in the shade. Hi, Sweet Pea. Oh, you look.
What an enormous
yes.
dog.
Yeah, dog in the shade.
Huge.
Yeah, you're
Gives a big
huge.
smile.
Yeah, dog with tongue hanging out. Sweet Pea is a really nice dog. I know that too. So anyway, hard to find a place to stay with pet if you can't be out in the country. And so the place you were renting, about how many square feet do you suppose you had there?
We did the math on this the other day, and I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was less than 400 feet.
Less than 400 square feet.
Yeah.
And
It's
how
like
much a
14
month
by
were you
14.
paying for that?
$350 per month.
Yeah, so it's almost $1 a square foot. That would be pretty expensive if you rated that up to an ordinary sized apartment. And you were in a basement, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was more like a wash closet for like mops and stuff. That like it seemed to be a place where I don't know, the style of sinks in there were like some old style of like janitor closet sinks.
So essentially they were renting you something like an old janitor closet?
Yeah, that they put a bathtub in.
Yeah. You had running water in kitchen, more or less, or not?
Yeah, there was running water in a kitchen, and like the bedroom actually had a sink.
Oh, how interesting.
It was like in the hallway to the bedroom.
So
The bedroom was like in an L shape, and I don't know. Then there was no closet, or there was no sink in the bathroom. The bathroom had like a toilet and what is it called? Cast iron bathtub.
Uh-huh.
And there's no like wash place in there.
Did you ever have anything break that the landlord needed to fix? And
Yeah.
did that work
all
out?
kinds of stuff, and like every time. Actually, I should say there were 2 times that they repaired, just like minor repairs, but just about every other time, like even I don't know, even a broken sink, they came and they replaced it with a broken sink.
Oh, how interesting.
It was broken in the same way as the one that they were replacing, and I don't know. They like the worst of it though was probably like the sewage being rained in from upstairs that they didn't tell me until like the 4th time that my house had been flooded with the sewage from the tattoo shop upstairs.
Oh.
That it was sewage, that it was like a toilet overflow that had been rained into my house, and I kept on asking them from the first time that happened to repair the floor upstairs, because that way the water wouldn't be able to come through the ceiling if the floor was in good condition up there. And they just ignored me for about a month and a half while this persisted on about a weekly basis, until finally I got kind of spastic with them on the phone, and then finally they repaired it. But I was
You're now finding yourself in the situation of looking for housing, and as we've talked to several people, I guess, who really having trouble finding anything now because there's just not much, especially for people with pets. But you have a family is trying to help you locate something, right?
Yeah,
that's good.
They're trying to buy a house. I had some bad news from my mom. Through the course of this situation with Doug Spates, one of my YouTube channels came under attack, particularly videos that had anything to do with Doug Spates or his cronies. The crony of Doug Spates that set me up with that apartment, and like he basically made a point of being in my way and like becoming a part of my life when I first showed up to Newport, Vermont. That I was just riding through town, and he like stopped me on the street. He was asking me about my bike, and like I had a bike with a motor on it, and then he was asking me if I wanted to come over and drink a beer. And so we hung out a little bit, and he introduced me to his brother, and I hung out with his brother for a little while, and he's the one that told me the whole situation about his history. And then he, though, set me up with this apartment through Doug Spates, which the problem with my parents locating the house is this guy, the anonymous guy on YouTube, he later showed up to my channel. He's like, I got your last channel shut down. I was like, whatever, man, I just put it on private. He's like, no, I got it shut down. And he's like, I accused him openly of being a crony of Doug Spates because those were the videos, and like, he's just like, yeah, well, Doug Spates kicked your ass, and maybe next time he'll do better or something like that. And like, he's just I don't know. So he said to me that he thought I was not crazy, and that he was going to report me to the Social Security Administration for being fake crazy, even though I have a diagnosis since I was like 19 years old, and like
I don't
know,
think.
like
How would that
Massachusetts
keep?
had my right to drive suspended for like a decade, more than a decade now, almost 15 years.
So you have a diagnosed mental illness,
since like more than 20 years ago.
right? So you said you thought it was gonna be a problem for your family to help locate a home.
So that guy said that he was going to report me to the Social Security Administration, and then about 2 months later, the Social Security Administration contacted me. They sent me out this paperwork saying you gotta you got to get us, or you got to go get reevaluated
Mm-hmm.
because this guy who was apparently a crony of Doug Spates had reported me to the Social Security
I see. So
Administration.
there we get to the.
And
okay.
so now I don't know if I'm gonna have money to pay any rent to my parents if they buy a house to be able to. I don't know.
Right.
They expect me really to make the house payment,
Right.
which they're gonna try to buy a house that's like in the same range as what I was paying per month.
That is possible. So fish on Fridays, Fridays at noon at the Fish, brought to you by Northeast Kingdom 99%. We are an Occupy group, which is an offshoot of Occupy Wall Street. Occupy Wall Street didn't disappear, it just went out into communities. We are a community group, not a protest group. We are encouraging people to speak out about issues that are important in their community, strengthen community ties, and help people seek solutions for problems that they face in their communities.